Everybody, and welcome to an unboxing of the Marvel Crisis Protocol miniature game by Atomic Mass Games. This is the core set, the starter set essentially. Technically it's meant for one person, but you could definitely split it. We'll go into more details about that once we look in the box though. Just released as of the 15th of November. If you're looking for it in the UK, it's usually this will cost you around, I think it's £82, something like that. However, free shout out. If you want any more in the future, they'll cost you. But free shout out to Element Games, who have the best price I could find in the UK, to the point where I thought it was wrong, as in like it was an error on their website. They're charging like 61 for this box, so a saving of £20, which seems awfully high, especially compared to other places offering just like a 10% discount. They have a bunch in stock and they haven't updated the price as of it being properly released, so I'd encourage you to go there if you're interested. Anyway, it's a skirmish game, Marvel license. You have all the characters in this box that are on the front cover. You also get some scenery, you get core rules, tokens, and such. And unlike Night Models, Atomic Mass Games are also very interactive with their community. I've watched them play a few games live on their Twitch stream. They're fairly active, like just doing painting streams as well. And their website has a bunch of shots of upcoming model releases as well, because right now you can just get the core set here, and Hulk and MODOK, but there's more on the way. So let's get this open. That was stuck on harder than I thought it was. Okay, got the lid off, barely. Let's see what we've got. So we've got the Learn to Play booklet. I've heard on the grapevine that this is not the full comprehensive rules. It's specifically just to get you started, although actually I would say the full rules are available as a PDF on Atomic Mass Games website, but this looks identical to me. I'd heard this was a shortened version of the rules. I'm pretty sure this is exactly the PDF. So maybe not. So in other words, it has everything you should need. Oh, plus some extra stuff, character overviews of the characters that are in the box. Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, Red Skull. Also, I will just say, most of the sculpts look really good, and the scale of the game is equivalent to Primaris, if you're more familiar with 40k. The Spider-Man pose, don't like it at all. That's the only one I'm a little iffy on. Then you've got Ultron, Crossbones, Baron Zemo, don't know anything about him. I thought he was the Doctor guy from the Captain America films. Dr. Octopus, and that's it. So 10 models. The way the game works is you make a roster of 10 miniatures, and they can be any miniatures you want. Villain, hero, Avengers, Asgardians, etc, etc. And then you pick a team to play on the mission once you've decided on the mission as part of the game setup. So you don't get limited to hero and villain teams. Oh, there's some of the scenery you get as well. And that's that, and then there's quick reference, which is always very handy. Does it say you're allowed to photocopy it? It doesn't, but presumably you could. Because again, it's available for free on the website. I don't know how I feel about like team affiliations. Team affiliations do matter in the sense that if you have a majority of 50% in your team, it gives you access to team-specific roles. Like if you have at least 50% Avengers, you can do Avenger stuff, but you don't have to if you don't want to. So these are the large player cards. We'll look at them in a second. This is an abundance of tokens. Ooh, lots of them. So it looks like these ones here are related to the missions that are in the box. Sorry for the glare from the light there. Yeah, these are definitely, like, these are fragments of the Tesseract, I think. Spider infected. Gamma radiation, maybe? Meteor. Mobile phones. That's the... Oops, sorry, as I hit the phone. This is the turn tracker. Like Batman in the DC game, it goes to 6 turns, or whoever gets 16 victory points first. That's how this is decided. So a game won't necessarily go the full distance if there's a stomp. Then on this side, that's power tokens, power spent on special abilities. The slashes or wound markers, I believe. The hydro markers, I'm not sure. And the ticks, you put those next to a character once they've had their turn, just to keep track of who's had their turn and who hasn't. Simple enough, that's everything at least one person would need. There's only one victory point and turn tracker though. You would need 2 of those ideally. So we have the unique dice. They're D8s I believe, but they all have unique symbols. I will say from watching this game being played on Atomic Mass Games' Twitch stream, very, very hard to read the dice unless you're right in their face. The symbols are not clear from a distance, in my opinion, which is a little bit of a shame. They could have been a little bit bigger D8s and it would have been fine. Small complaint, but in terms of watchability, that is a problem I've had. So under this, I believe it's just a mountain of sprue. So let's first take a look at the character cards. Now we are going to be doing some battle reports of this. It might take a while to get models assembled and painted up, but we are going to do it, and we'll go over more precise rules and how you play once we start that. But essentially you have a card, health, movement, etc. Defense against the 3 energy types, physical, energy, and mystic, or psychic, I don't remember how it's classified. Special powers, and attacks. Sorry, attacks and special powers to be specific. And the way the game works, which is actually kind of clever, is you're not able to remove a character in one turn. If you, like, I think that's his health, so he's got 5 health. If you do that, he gets dazed, and then in the next turn, you flip the card over, and he's got his damaged card, and he has another 5 HP. So each other, like, alternative side is the wounded version of each character, and sometimes they get weaker. In the case of like the Hulk, I believe, he gets a lot stronger. They might have different attacks. So it basically just means you can't lose somebody fancy in one turn, which is pretty neat. And I think that's a very clever way to get around losing someone you like instantly. The art varies on the cards. I mean, I know it's showing them getting wounded. I just mean like the quality of the art. I'm not that big on the Ultron one, for instance, but that Spider-Man one looks a hell of a lot better than the pose the miniature is in. Sorry, I meant to say heck. He looks like a Transformer there. So yeah, we'll go into more detail about how a card works, what these stats mean once we're actually playing a game. More importantly though, the sprue upon sprue. So that is scenery. It's lampposts, traffic lights, and the newspaper stall, I believe. And then under here we've got a car. And then we have the various bases. So standard base for this game is that and that, which is 40 mil roughly, or maybe exactly. For the bigger characters like Ultron, they go on those size bases, which I think are 72. Ah, maybe not, maybe not. It looks a little bit smaller than 72. I'm just seeing if there's a number on it. No, but definitely bigger than the standard 40. But that means the smallest miniatures you're getting are on 40 mil bases. So in general, they are quite large. It's also plastic, it's not resin. Okay, this is Captain America's sprue. I know it's not super easy to see, but obviously there's a shield, body plate. Not sure what's in the rest of it. Looks like the Red Skull, it could be. We'll open one of these to take a look. I just don't want to separate them too much just now. That looks like Crossbones, Baron Zemo. Who's in this large one? Is this Ultron? Yeah, that's Ultron. So he's in the large one. Let's open it and take a look at one of his bits because he's on the larger side. So because they're so large, they should take to painting with like the contrast paints and the like very well. They're not too big that it would look runny, but they're not too small that it doesn't get all the detail you would want. And because they're plastic, no flash. The sculpts look good. There's an assembly guide in the book, as you saw. What else is in here? Oh, Doc Ock. So there's Doc Ock is a bit plump. Short and plump, so that's his body there. There's his tentacles. I don't know where Ultron's body is. Must be in one of the other bags because that's a dumpster. It also comes with some miscellaneous like cans and trash cans and like empty Coke bottles and stuff that you can use to either spruce up the scenery or you can put it on the bases to spruce up the bases. And the last thing in here, so these are deployment cards and crisis cards, I think they're referred to as, but there's two different types of crisis card. So a crisis might refer you to a deployment map, and that's what you get. It's played on a 3x3 table, same as the Batman game and the DC game. These are affiliation cards, letting you know who is who. So Cabal, Avengers, 2 cards for 2 people. And these are mission objectives, and these are kind of like special abilities you pick, and assuming you meet the criteria on them, the description's on the other side, you activate them. It's Groot saving the Punisher. The art on these is great. Rocket Raccoon just on top of War Machine. Also kind of giving you hints of characters that are coming down the line. So you select from these once you know the mission, I believe. And some of them are affiliation linked, like Avengers Assemble. You have to have an Avengers team, which just means 50% of your team has to be Avengers. Ricochet Blast, the art on that is great. You follow me, patch up. 1-2 punch. So yeah, these are the two different crisis types. So essentially the way the game works, you get more of these cards with, like, for instance, if you buy the Hulk, he comes with some of these as well. You mix all these together, and you pick one blue, one red, and that forms the mission you play, so there's always going to be 2 active objectives. And you have power ratings at the top. All of these are 17. When you pick the mission, I can't remember who gets to pick the power. Whoever doesn't pick the mission picks the power, I believe, of the 2 card choices, and that's how much power your team is allowed to go up to, because they all have a value, which I think is at the top right of the card. So like Ultron is value 4, so you take up 4 of the 17, for instance. So that's everything you get in the box. You get a lot of miniatures, a lot of cards, everything you need to play, as long as you're willing to split 5 and 5. Just take a look at the back. Actually, is there more in here? Oh, there's totally more in here. There's the rest of the sprue. It was concealed in plain sight. Is Ultron's body in here as well? Ah, this is the... It's a little bit weird they didn't... Oops, as I hit my camera, apologies. It's a little weird they didn't paint these as standard. These are your movement tools and distance tools for special powers, like energy blasts and such. These didn't need to be unpainted. They could have just been like black plastic with a single colour in the middle. Seems a bit unnecessary. Is that everything now? That is everything now. So we just turn this over. There's what the miniatures look like if they're painted by somebody who knows what they're doing. How long does it say the game takes? Does it say? Like, they take their time when they're on stream, and it usually takes like up to 2 hours from people who know what they're doing, but they're talking to chat and taking their time explaining what they're doing. I reckon you could get it down to like standard skirmish game length. Oh, actually it's up there, yeah. 90 to 120 minutes, 14 plus, 2 players. Yeah, and there's the list of everything you get in the box as well. So I will be doing some contrast paint videos on some of these miniatures, and eventually we will be doing battle reports. They will come in the future. For the price I got this at, it feels like a very acceptable price to buy in to Marvel Crisis Protocol. The quality of the miniatures look good. You'll be able to tell better once they're assembled though. And they've got a lot of plans in the future. I really want them to do a Hulkbuster armor miniature, but there's none of those yet. I think next up is like Venom and the Asgardians, oh, and Black Panther, and then Guardians of the Galaxy next year, I think. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Ta-ta for now.